Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel Volvo Christian, and welcome to my XC40 Recharge Twin Model 24. So this video will be an ownership review part 2. Yesterday I posted a video with the things that I like with my XC40, and today it's going to be the things that I don't like. The first plan was to make 2 videos with the love and hate. What are the things that I love with my XC40 and what are the things that I hate with my XC40? Because on all my previous cars and also previous test cars, there's always some things I love with the car and always some things I hate with the car. And I thought I was going to do the same with this car. Nothing special. But when I then started to compile the list of the things that I supposedly love, it was actually hard to write 2 lines under it and say, yes, I love these things. Actually, it was just one thing I loved, or love. And that is the exterior and interior combination, the spec combination. Fjord blue with a midnight zinc tailored wool. Absolutely beautiful combination. The other things are just things that I like, that is good. So instead of a love-hate topic, I had to make the good, bad and ugly. And yesterday I posted the good stuff. So if you want to see the 2 other things, then check yesterday's video for that. Today is going to be the bad and the ugly. So as I said, I had a car for 4 months. Tomorrow it's New Year's Eve, and I took delivery of this the 18th of August at Frydenberg Bilcenter in Bergen. So I had it for 4 months and I've driven about 14,000 kilometers. So enough to make up my mind. Just have to bring my jacket, it was colder than expected. I'm recording this video here at Gardermoen, just outside Oslo. It's our airport here in Oslo. And I'm now at the military's plane collection with the historical planes and stuff. And we've got this wicked fighter jet in the background. Beautiful backdrop for this video. So that's why there supposedly probably will come some noise from time to time with the planes taking off and touching down. But as I said, I've had it for 4 months and driven 14,000. And we are now going to start on the bad stuff before we're ending with the ugly stuff that I freaking hate. And all of this together has affected the things that I love or like. Because there's so much that I don't like that in general the XC40 has lost its value in my head. And that is quite a shame, but you can see what you think after watching this video. We're going to start with point number 1, and that is range. Obviously, electric battery car, range will always be a problem, maybe, because you can't recharge it so fast as just a petrol car. So the WLTP on this Recharge Twin are 530 kilometers, but that is under ideal conditions, temperature like summertime. The battery are 82 kilowatt hours gross, and like the total and the usable capacity are like 78. But as you see now, it's winter time, it's -5 degrees, and the last weeks now with this temperature and this driving conditions, I'm averaging about 200 kilometers from 100% to 0%. And I'm charging it. Yeah, I'm charging it actually every other day because I'm driving pretty much. And as I said, I have 200 kilometers of real world range on my daily basis. But 2 or 3 days ago, I took a range test and I managed to drive 248 kilometers in one go, and I still had like 30 kilometers remaining, so like 280. But why do I only have 200 on my daily usage? That's because I use preheating functions like 3 times a day, 4 times a day. In the morning when I'm driving to work, and then sometimes during lunch break if I want to drive over to the local shop and get some food, and then after work, and then sometimes during the night. And this preheating function to make a warm cabin cozy and warm, that drains the battery. So my daily drives are probably like 100 kilometers, give or takes. And I use like 50% of the battery. Sometimes like 45 until 50. So I have to charge it every other day. I'm not bothered to charge it every day because someone say you have to set the limit on 80%, but I don't care. I need 100%, so I charge it to 100% every other day. And that lasts 2 days. 200 kilometers with a bunch of preheating. So range aren't that good, but at least it was better than last winter, because last winter I didn't have home charging, so I had to visit these rapid chargers very often, actually almost every single day. But now when I have home charging, at least I can charge at home. But range are challenge, even if you have 530 kilometers. That is summertime and when somebody is pushing the car. But yeah, I got 200 on my daily drives, and yeah, as you saw, 250 on if you go in one go. So range are one of the things that I don't like. And then we come to my second point, and that is regarding the all-wheel drive system. Because there's a huge difference on the Model 24 compared to previous versions. On the previous versions you had 50-50 distribution. You had two identical motors on 204 horsepower on each axle, so always 50-50 distribution. But on the 2024 we got a stronger rear electric motor providing 249 horsepower, and then we have a smaller front motor providing 159 horsepower. So that should give us distribution of like 62 and 38. And you should think that is a better setup with a stronger rear electric motor. But surprisingly enough, and now I am actually quite shocked over this, I think the previous system was better. I didn't think I was going to say that. And there's two reasons why I think the previous system was better. One is that I think it's slightly too tail happy, because there's no setting that I can set it on a fixed constant all-wheel drive. The car decides for itself if you want to engage the front motor or not, even if depending on if you have wheel spin or if you floor the pedal, then the front motor will engage. But so as I said, like 249 in the back, and when I drive roundabouts in intersections or when I'm entering the main road, like a 90-degree turn, I think it's too tail happy, even if I want it or don't want it. Sometimes you get a little flick with the ass, and that is more than before. And I can't blame the tires, because the car got delivered on these all-season shit, but I ripped them off instantly. And I'm now running Nokian Hakkapeliitta R10 studded tires. Awesome tires, but it's still tail happy on these conditions. Even if I'm soft on the foot out of corners, sometimes you just get a little flick. And I've talked to a bunch of other XC40 owners here in Norway that has experienced the same. More tail happy, even with soft pedal. So I don't know. I wish there was a setting where I can permanently engage the front motor, so you get permanent all-wheel drive. Because this system, I don't think is good enough. The other part of that all-wheel drive system are the ESC Sport. Because on previous Volvos, before this Android infotainment shit came, then you had a button for ESC Sport, so traction control, reduce it. Put it in sports mode. It wasn't completely off, but it was, you could have some fun. But there's no button for that in this car. And sometimes when I'm losing traction, even if it's intended or not, then you can feed more power to the accelerator pedal. But that's not what it does here. You get a really weird behavior in the car. So if I wanted to try, I'm just gonna get some heat from the car. If I want to try to make the XC40 go sideways, so you feed it more power and then you start to flick, if you could disengage the ESC, then you can just feed more power and allow the wheels to spin. And then even if you don't want the car to slide, like in a roundabout, then you can just feed more power and just get control again. But that's not possible here. I wish it was possible to have an ESC sport mode, so I would just have that engaged all the time. Because if you don't slip, you can just feed more. But what it does here, if you lose traction, and this has happened a couple of times actually, where I didn't want it and I was trying to correct it with more power, but then the system just strangles the power and you just end up sliding and before the front wheels will engage. So you get a weird behavior, and I think that behavior are actually quite bad. And if I want to have fun, let's say at open parking lots in Mexico, and you try to feed the power, then sometimes you get it sliding. You have to have the wheel locked and then feed the power, and then you can get some, or if you have some speed. But other times it's just impossible, because the traction control just strangles all power and you got nothing. You just have ending up sliding until you stop. So in both the practical, sensible way, I think you should have a ESC Sport, or just allow more wheel spin on the rear wheels, or just connect it faster, or let me pick a constant all-wheel drive setup. Because this setup now, on the both fun way and then the reasonable driving regular way, I think they're both shit. I don't like it. And it has gone so far that I actually wish I had a Polestar instead. Because with Polestar 2, same powertrain, same motors, Polestar, the guys that work at Polestar, they are probably guys that love to drive cars. I'm not sure what Volvo software engineers or developers or the bosses at Volvo, if they love to drive cars, because you have to have an ESC Sport. Even the Kia EV9 has a ESC, like a disengage. But Volvo, no. Polestar, yes. Because that is much better to drive both spirited and in normal driving. But yeah, so all-wheel drive, thumbs down on the new, and then range, and then all-wheel drive. Yeah, I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all. And then we're gonna jump in for the third part of the things that I think are bad with my XC40. Yeah, I've got to take off my jacket again. So it's time for the last part of the things that I don't like with the XC40. And yes, we're gonna do this one more time. Once again, I'm gonna bitch and whine and rant about Android infotainment. I hate the infotainment. I miss the days where we had Volvo's own infotainment, developed by people that drove cars and drove Volvos in the Nordic environment and know what they wanted. Time after time, I'm just thinking in my head, or wondering who has developed this Android infotainment. Are these car people, or are they just software people just taking the bus to work and don't drive? Maybe living in San Francisco. I get so fed up that sometimes I just want to sell the car and just be done with the Android infotainment. But I'm not going to rant on too much. I'm going to talk about 2 points that really pisses me off. And the first off are the icons itself, the screen layout, the center screen. Why does the icon has to be so small? Everything you touch, it's just so little space. Why can't I? Okay, take off the camera. And there's so small icons. And I'm gonna overlay a video so you can see what I mean. Like the settings menu here. So long list, and there's so much things going on. I think Polestar has a much better execution. Much better, with big icons, in shortcuts, easy to operate while driving. And sometimes when I bitch and whine about the Android, I get like 2 replies usually. One of them, you're not supposed to do that while driving. But are you supposed to stop if you want to turn on the heated steering wheel? Or just want to do a setting or adjust the one pedal drive? And the other thing that people may say, or just use the voice command. And if there's one thing I hate more than the Android infotainment, that is a voice command. Why do people want to talk to their cars? I just can't understand why. I hardly use the voice command. I just want to push it and get on, because usually, or mostly, I'm just driving, listening to music, listening to podcast. I don't want to interrupt with, oh, can you please turn on the heated steering wheel? And sometimes it doesn't, but what are you meaning? Can you please turn on, I'm saying it in Norwegian, ta på oppvarmet eller aktiver setevarmer, or some shit. Yeah, it works, but sometimes if you speak too fast, or if you are not clear on the command, you can say that I don't understand you. It takes longer time, and I can't listen to music while I'm doing it, so I just want a freaking button, come on, or a bigger layout. So thumbs down. Polestar has it a much better way. If this annoys me more, maybe I just leaving the XC40 behind and grabbing me a Polestar 2 again. That is infotainment wise much better. But okay, that was the first whine. The second, and this I have talked about this before. Once again, I'm going to mention the display light adjustments. And when I have talked about it before, I usually get the same reply. Like 9 out of 10 people replying us or commenting, they all say the same. And why do you use the display light? And they have never used it. And they had a car for several years, both previous, before this Android shit and with this Android shit. And they say, we are never using it. So I'm probably the weird one out, because I use it on a daily basis. And especially during winter time, here in the Nordics, where we have very shifting light conditions. Because when I'm driving to work, sometimes it's pitch black, so then I want the display lighting brightness all the way down. And if it gradually gets lighter, then I could find myself, if I had the wheel, to flip it over or flip it gradually upwards. So I could get visibility here and visibility outside. And after work, if it's bright, I want it on full, and then it probably gets dark, so I want to turn it down again, or if I'm entering a long-ass tunnel. But here, on the Android shit, it's actually quite a hassle to do that, because Volvo decided last year to remove all of these wheels that we had down here. A little adjustment wheel on the left side, very easy to operate, and now it's a freaking hassle. I'm gonna overlay a picture or video clip of that one as well. Pressing here, settings, pressing controls, this is on Norwegian now, and then usually you have to slide it down. So 2 or 3 slides, and then you have to press this light power in the coupe. This is for the display lights. And sometimes, as you see here, sometimes you miss this bar. Or you see here, the calibration on, it's so useless to do this while you're driving, and you can't hey something and make it right. So sometimes I just leave it like on low, because I couldn't be bothered to do this every single time. Oh, the agony. But okay, I'm 1 out of 10 that uses this, but why does it have to be so freaking hard? Why can't I get it on a shortcut and put it like on the lower tile here? I don't need this shit here. So sometimes I just have Spotify on the lower tile, and then have Bluetooth or radio on the top, because I find this lower tile to be just useless. I'm not going to turn on some music now, but display light, oh, annoying. So that was the good yesterday. Now we have the bad, and that was the range, all-wheel drive, and the Android infotainment. And now we're going to touch upon the ugly stuff. And this is the things I absolutely hate. And for that, I have to bring my trusted standby notebook. When attention matters, I have made a list. This is just some of the things that has gone wrong with my XC40 during these 4 months. And the list are quite long. And I had it on service like last month in November, where I mentioned these things. I said, can you take a look at my car? It's really annoying. And obviously you get the same, they check it and they say, oh, it worked fine when we had it. So here we go. It's about, okay. So that short moment of time, it worked fine. But I had like video clips and things showing some of this. But yeah, it worked fine. So we did a hard reset and hopefully it's good. But it's not good. It's the same shit over and over again. So let's start. Things going wrong. And we're going to start with the Google Assistant. If you want to activate the Google Assistant, there's a button here on the display or the center screen. Google, you can press this shit. You can also press a button on the steering wheel. It's so important that you have to have a button there, and you can also say it. So there's 3 ways to activate the Google ID. That is how important it is. More important than the display light. But okay. But my car, and maybe other cars, has found off a 4th way. And that is just randomly, out of nowhere, just activating it by itself and just sometimes answering.
Beklager, jeg skjønner ikke hva du mener.
No, sorry, I don't understand what you mean. And this happens almost every single day. When I'm listening to music and just chilling along, sometimes no, and then either it's a couple of seconds quiet without music, or sometimes it answers if it hears a word in the sentence.
Jeg skjønner dessverre ikke hva du mener.
No. When I did this earlier today, I just tried to simulate.
Her definisjonen av simulate.
Then it starts to the definition.
Appearance or character of.
Yeah, okay. And then it's just start ranting on about something, because it's not always that the audio goes down. So sometimes when the Google lady activates, it grabs one word from the song or from the podcast and just try to explain that. Or it's just quiet a couple of seconds. And this is freaking annoying, because when I'm driving along, listening to music, sometimes I sing along, and if there's a fast song, you are really pumping it, and suddenly it gets quiet. No music, just the agony. Or sometimes if I'm just chatting with my passenger, this shit would this shit would just randomly activate, even if we're not saying any Google related words. We could talk about something completely different, or we always do, but music, podcast just interrupts on a daily basis. And what can I do to help you? You can shut the So Google Assistant, go home, please. Preheating. There's a menu here on parking where you can set selected preheating during the day, and I have like 4 each day, like on the morning, sometimes during lunch, after work, and sometimes at night. And several times these preset timers have just completely gone, or sometimes they are active, because now I have this engaging, because now it's a vacation. Even if they are active, the car won't start the heating process at like 10:50. Super annoying when you come out to the car, even if it's parked at home in the like carport thing, or at work. If it's snowing or just cold as heck, and you come out, you're just looking forward to a warm and nice cabin, and it's freaking cold. It's colder on the inside than on the outside. You say, what the freaking god? So you check these timers. Even sometimes they're active, but it just hasn't started, even with high state of charge, like 40 to 80%, it just won't start. Or just it has deleted everything. You have to do it all over again. And that has happened like 4 or 5 times, just completely gone. And then like probably 10 times it just don't start. So it's very unreliable. My old V40 and my V60 from like 2015 were more reliable on the preheating. So, thumbs down. Heated steering wheel, yeah. That is just heated when it feels like it. I have like a half an hour from home to work, and if I had a car heated, the heated steering wheel, it could be warm and then suddenly it gets cold and suddenly it gets warm again. And same on like Thursday when I drove for 4.5 hours. Sometimes it's just up and down. Never been so unreliable on the heating. So like now, I'm not sure if I have it's like semi-cold or semi-hot, and I have it on 3. My previous Volvos, when you had it on 3, it was warm as heck, really cozy and warm. Now, even 3 feels like previous 2, but yeah, it lives its own life. Then speakers, sometimes there's a distortion. Say you have this warning chimes. I'll see if I can trigger a warning with driving. Oh. Sometimes this chime are distorted, or like it sounds like the speakers are blown. And sometimes it also happens when you're listening to radio. But next time you start, everything's fine. So when I had it on service, everything's fine. It works. Well, we had it, but yeah, it pisses the hell out of me. That's happened like 2 or 3 times. 360 camera, it's not always it will engage when you put it in reverse. So now it engages, but sometimes it's very slow or not appearing at all. Navigation, yeah. Navigation are actually quite weird as well. Sometimes when you want to enter a destination, there's no previous destination, and you can't search for anything. So that it's like it doesn't have a signal or connection. So you have to restart and reboot this infotainment. And that has happened a couple of times. Or that it takes a route that you usually wouldn't take. So that's quite annoying. It doesn't take the fastest route in time. If it finds 2 routes, it could decide for you that you want to have the shorter in time. Like you save like, or now in distance, you save like 1 kilometer, but in reality it takes longer time because they're like the back roads instead of like a highway. So I find it to be weird. And also, before, when I enter the destination, say I want to go to Jessheim, now I have 89%. Before I had a display that it said remaining charge if you go back to this destination, like state of charge at return, but that one has gone away. Sometimes I see it like 1 second before it just gets over to the regular menu. And then it's the over-the-air update. But it was I feel the navigation got reduced. Spotify, last on the list. Same actually with the navigation. Sometimes it doesn't know or doesn't find any of your songs or your albums or nothing. So you have to reboot and restart the infotainment over and over again. And these error things, they are just shifting on what to bug me that week. Sometimes it's the speaker, sometimes it's the 360 camera. Every day is the freaking Android lady or the Google lady. So yeah, that is the good, bad and the ugly. And these things bugs me so much that the good things are reduced, as I said. Really, really annoying. But I think I'm gonna wrap up this video before it's probably way too long already. So it's time to wrap it up. We have now talked about the bad and the ugly. Yesterday we talked about the good. And honestly, I think the bad and the ugly outweigh the good parts. And I don't want to come off as a ungrateful bastard, because the XC40, it is a good car, but is it a car for me? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm even going to keep it for the next 4 months. Because of all of these bad and ugly parts. I don't know what to say. I've had it for 4 months, driven 14,000, and I didn't think that I was going to be at this point where the list of bad and ugly things are longer than the list of good things. But it is what it is. It's a great car, but maybe not for me. Because I don't just have a car to get from A to B, like a commuter, home and work. I have it for passion. For this is my passion. I love cars and I love Volvos. But I can't say that I love the XC40. And I have 2 jobs. I work like 130%. So I work a lot in order to pay for this. And with the interest rates these days, this thing are closing on 2,000 kroners more a month than I had planned. Because of the interest rates just exploding. So it's a pretty expensive car. Yes, I save a lot in fuel expenses compared to my S60, but when I'm paying as much as I do, I have to be 100% pleased, or at least 90. Now it's like, I'm not gonna say it, probably like 40 or 50. There's no excitement. Obviously, it's not a S60, so you can't get that backroad joy. But I always drive my cars with a smile on my face and just enjoy the driving pleasure and driving sensation. But the XC40 is not a driver's car, obviously. I have never said it was a driver's car, but I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't give me that thrill and just wanting to drive just to drive. Here I drive to a destination, I drive to see something, I drive to get to this destination. I don't just drive to drive. And that is, yeah. So maybe this isn't the car for me. Maybe I have to go back to where my love is. S90, V60, S60, driver's cars, even XC60. Better driver's car. Or maybe just electric isn't for me. I need probably a pre-Android car. So either way, it was a rant. But I hope you enjoyed this good, bad and ugly. My 4-month ownership, honest ownership review. Yeah, drop a comment down below. I really have to get into the car again. Once again, I have ice covered feet. I need better shoes probably. Even with 2 pairs of socks and winter boots, it's wet as heck and cold as, yeah. So I have to get into my warm and cozy car. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Yeah, Christmas was like 4 days ago. And New Year's tomorrow, 5-6 days ago. I can't even count. But this is my scratch it. Happy New Year, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and bye bye.